Welcome, everyone. Today is October 24th, 2022. It is a Monday. Oh, and Letao is already here. Early bird gets the worm. Was not expecting, but nice. So, Friday I did not stream. I sent a tweet just explaining that I wouldn't be able to stream. It was like a few minutes before the supposed stream schedule, so I do apologize for that, but my life is a bit upside down right now, so a lot of things can happen at a moment's notice. But we are fine today, and we're gonna continue work. I think I'm gonna take care of having a new file open just to warm up a little bit and to have a different file so I don't ruin the time lapse for the piece. Yeah. By the way, I was playing TFT just now, and I was like, should I play TFT? I'm gonna be a bit late for stream, right? But I did it anyway. Like, if I was late for a few minutes, it wouldn't be so bad, right? I was playing Reroll Karma because I enjoy that comp. Just having a 3-star Karma, absolutely killing everyone, right? And I don't know how, but someone got a Yasuo 3. And the moment I saw that, I just wrote it in the chat. There's like 5 people still playing. I just wrote in the chat, like, everyone give up. There's a Yasuo 3 on the board. And I immediately surrendered. I still had like 60 something HP. Right? I didn't notice how much HP the Yasuo guy had. But it's like, I'm not gonna waste time playing for second place. Like, second place isn't bad, but it's a normal. So there's nothing about it, you know? But if I continued playing, I would be top 4 either way. I ended up 3rd because 2 people actually lost that round. So, or the previous round. They lost the previous round. So I ended up 3rd anyway. And it was the Yasuo guy and some random schmuck that had to deal with that. Because Yasuo 3 is ridiculous. Like, he ults without the knockup and he insta-kills anyone. So, yeah. I really don't know how that happened, but it's kind of sad. But I really enjoyed the reroll Karma comp. It's really fun. But it's a bit risky because it takes time to get high cost units since I'm slow rolling for Karma. Just warming up a little bit. And then we'll move to Lisa. So, what happened this week? This weekend, I mean. I started watching illustration courses, right? Like online illustration courses. Stuff happened. Of course, stuff always happens. Feel free to say what you did this weekend besides playing TFT and hearing about the redacted fish. Okay, I gotta explain the redacted joke. Basically, there's this inside joke that I have with and Litauen, where there was a convention about archaeology, right? And for some reason, people weren't allowed to use the word bone, right? So we kind of joke that the word bone is redacted. And I don't know if it was this weekend or this week, like the largest, I want to say bony fish, but I don't know if that's the right nomenclature. Skeletal fish, I don't know. Was discovered, right? And so instead of saying bony fish, we say redacted fish, which sounds like an SCP. Which I'm not going to explain what it is. All right, if you want to know what an SCP is, please search SCP Foundation Secure, Contain, Protect. Marvel Snap. What do you think about Marvel Snap? Is it good? We're gonna do like this. We're gonna do this. So I'm gonna do pretty much the method that I used with Tighnari. So it has some problems. Well, we have plenty of time. The gameplay is addictive. I mean, it better be, right? Because it would fucking suck if they tried to monetize the game and the gameplay sucks. It's like pulling an Anthem, almost. Okay, gotta pay attention to what I'm actually shading here. Should have better references for hats, but whatever. Because like, to a certain extent, I like Hearthstone. It's just that it became like egregiously pay to win, right? And I don't like that. But this the good part about Snap is that it's not so pay to win. I hope not, but I don't know why. I get the feeling that it might change in the future, unfortunately. But for now, at least, if it's not so pay to win, it's enjoyable. So nice, nice. That's cool. But it's divided into 3 pools, so if you're in pool 1, you only face other people with pool 1 cards. Okay. But like, are the pools something that you choose? Like that thing of, oh, are you experienced in card games? That people usually have to answer when they start playing. Like, do you get divided into pools according to your experience, your prior experience in those types of games? I'd very much like to know. How does it look like when you multiply? It's pretty much the same. How does it look when I multiply here? It's darker. Alright. We're gonna do like this, maybe. You can only go to pool 2 after you get all the pool 1 cards. Oh, I see. So like the veterans and grind out and the whales buy everything. Alright, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, it makes sure that you don't get caught up in the heavy grinders and the like that is actually an interesting system because it allows you to pay to win, but you get restricted from playing against like players that have weaker potential decks because they don't have cards yet. That's interesting. That's an interesting approach. There are X cards in pool 1, and while you get them in a random order, by the end of pool 1, everyone has some cards. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. That's an interesting approach. By the way, I don't know what I'm doing with the shading of the hat. Like, I realized there are so many problems with my method when I was watching the illustration courses. In this case, course. I'm watching one from a website called Wingfox. It's like, there's so much I have to learn still. But yeah, like, it sounds nice. It's free to play, right? Because I might try it. Hello, gamer. No. What's up, gamer? Sorry for not streaming on Friday. Had schedule issues, but I am here now. I am warning, although that on Wednesday I won't be able to stream because I'll have the what's it called? Like I have to go to the doctor. It's just like routine stuff, right? There's no, at least I think there isn't any health issue. But you know, every once in a while it's good to check. So Wednesday there won't be a stream. But yeah. We were talking about Marvel Snap, which is like their new card game. And so I know nothing about it, but Letao knows, so yeah. He's a gamer. Also, people, I finished watching Devs. It threw so many curved balls, but by the end, I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Also, it did more or less what I explained in the last, I think it was last stream that I explained this. Like my vision of the many worlds, right? Where I was explaining that I kind of see it as not branching just out, but also like branching in, right? That's what happened, right? There was a specific timeline, and they, in point A, they saw point B. That's actually different. They saw point B, but a character decides to go like this, and they still end up in point B, just in a different way. I thought that was so interesting, because the way they wrote the show, like in point A, regardless if it happened what they saw, or if it happened something completely different, it would be so good, right? They wrote themselves into a place where they could not fail, at least in my opinion. Like, it happened what they saw, more or less. And I really enjoyed it because it was really well written. But if it happened something different, I would also have enjoyed it. It would be a little bit cliche, but I would enjoy that as well. But yeah, like this, the show had consistency because they said, "Oh, it's a nexus point; it doesn't change," and it's true. That was a nexus point that never changed. What changed was like that short action to get there, but it was more or less what I was talking about, right? You follow a path, and it's like the destination is the exact same, but the way you get there is different, right? And I was a bit happy that like my ego got stroked that an artist had the same idea that I have about this. Um, but it was really good. It was really good. Because I remember a few years. Wait. Oh, it's the opposite. I remember a few years ago, I was like in this very deep thinking state, but it was like it didn't make any sense what I was talking about. Where I said that human stubbornness is a good randomness generator. Because like when everything is considered to be predetermined, our stubbornness sometimes doesn't make any sense, right? And I was very surprised that they actually used a similar concept to go against determinism, right? But I actually have a theory about the show that I really think is interesting, right? So it's like there's a way to everything that happened in the show still be predetermined, right? So like they're at the end and they see the simulation of what's gonna happen, right? And I think what's happening is that they're not actually seeing a simulation. Like they're not seeing the correct simulation. They're seeing an incorrect simulation, right? Because the machine needs to have Lily and Forrest killed, right? But it also knows that if it shows Lily and Forrest not dying, not dying, like if it shows Lily not killing Forrest, then they will be able to stop the old man in the entrance, right? So it's like the machine shows Lily killing Forrest because it knows that will influence Lily into actually not doing it, right? That whole thing of the true choice. And I thought that was so interesting, right? Because if the machine shows a false simulation, what could happen is like they're watching it, right? Like there's people watching the simulation, and then they could still be watching the simulation, right? And here watching the simulation, and if you go like obviously infinitely, which we can't do, right? But in the very end, there would be the right one, the right simulation, but you will never be able to see it because there's like an infinity of layers to it. So they're like, it would go around the whole problem of showing a fake simulation, right? It's showing the right one, but it has an infinity of layers to it that we cannot perceive. Which is another problem. Like, did they ever watch themselves watching the simulation? Like, that would explode the machine, probably. Right? since the machine like renders everything. Yeah, that's what I think it did. It showed them something different, but in actuality, it was just to influence Lily to go to the proper path, unless it's abstract somehow. Yeah, maybe like it's a problem because they say the simulation is exactly like the real world, so there's no simplifying, right? So a simulation inside the simulation would be the exact same size, which, you know, it's divergent. It goes on to infinity, so the machine would have infinite potential. There was also like another thing that I thought it would happen, which would be like, oh, we can't predict beyond this point, right? Here we saw everything until point B. What I thought would happen at first was like Lily would destroy the machine, and because there's no machine in the future, you can't see it. But then I thought that doesn't make any sense because they can see the past. So applying this rule would mean that there was a machine in the past, so the machine would need to always exist. So I'm glad that the show doesn't work with those rules. Might only have to simulate the change at each recursion, not really simulate the whole. I guess it's like there's a bit of abstraction that I did with the show, especially in the part where they were seeing the simulation of their own world 1 second earlier, right? Where the simulation would act first and then we would act exactly like the simulation. To me, that wouldn't work, right? There are people that would be stubborn enough. I mean, most people would be stubborn enough to like look at a simulation and try to act differently. So it's like it works for their world, obviously, but it's one of the weakest points of the show. And I do feel like because they got so jaded from looking at the simulation so much, they just stopped believing in free choice, right? Free will. So that was also interesting. Surely this simulation accounts for their stubbornness. Maybe. But it's like, it's also a reaction, right? Like, you have a simulation, and if people have in their mind to react opposite to what the simulation does, there's really no way to show the correct answer. Because the correct answer is always the opposite of what the simulation shows, right? There will be no winning situation for the machine. That's kind of what I mean by stubbornness. Also, that last private joke that Forrest revealed was amazing. So we spent like the entire show calling it devs. By the way, spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't watched this show. Like, I've spoiled like everything by now, but I think this is more important. It's not devs. It's Deus. And I was like, bro, no way. And at the end of the episode, they show the title, and instead of being a V, it's a U. And I was like, no. No, I took the title for granted. Oh, That was really, really nice. Like, I don't know if there was any detail that could have taken me there, but I never interpret it that way, because even Forrest said, like, every company or every tech company has a devs team, right? So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, they're the devs. They develop stuff, right? I'm not too versed in that world, but like that sounds about right. So when he used that justification, I was like, okay, they're developing something really weird, but it's still development. I would never assume that they would take it literally and be like Deus, bro. So that was really, really nice. Also, I started watching Severance, but I had to stop for a bit because I had things to do, and then I didn't pick it back up. I hope that I'll be able to see like one episode today or something. The Roman U. Yeah, but like I don't keep the Roman U in the back of my mind. I didn't pick up Primer yet. I think I'm gonna watch Severance first, just so I don't forget. And then I'm gonna watch Primer. Cause like even if it's only like an hour and 15, if it's like if it has weird things with time, it's gonna require more than one uh session. So it's gonna take a little bit of time for me to process. I mean, you can tell, all right? If they can catch me with devs and Deus, Primer is gonna be a hard thing to tackle. Yeah, really, really cool series. It's like Portuguese is a Romance language, so it's derived from Latin. I didn't even take into consideration that the V could have been used as a U. I was just like, yeah, devs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I only watched like 10 minutes of the first episode of Severance, but it felt interesting. I think I'm gonna do something like this. Just gonna bullshit my way a little bit on the hat. Okay. But yeah, the show was really good. The show was really good. But there were like, there's a lot of stuff that I'm watching right now. I watched Devs. I'm watching Spy X Family or Spy Family, whatever you call it. I'm watching Chainsaw Man. I tried watching Severance. I had to stop for a bit. I'm watching The Owl House, and they released like a 50-minute episode. I'm trying to keep up with all that stuff. It's a bit. It is a bit. But there's so much good stuff to watch. It is incredible. Yeah, but it's like if I watch the shows, or at least one episode, right? I have something to talk about in the stream. It makes it easier to have topics to talk about. Actually, I'm being very inefficient here. I could have magic wand and either paint everything with a fill tool or just control U. Yeah, I'm being very inefficient. Yeah. But I'm using more or less the same method that I use with Tainari. Sorry, there's something in my throat. I'm gonna do a bit of area scaling. Because there's line art on top, so it shouldn't be measurable. There's this over here that I need to fix, but that'll be okay. Center spacing is a little slow, but I prefer it that way for the themes to explore. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to explore. I'm assuming it's gonna be like a bit psychological, right? That sort of thing requires time to process. Like, at least I require time to process it. I think in devs, the only thing that was like really weak was the security guard. Like, the security guard, from what I understood, was at the orders of Forrest. And Forrest clearly told him that it was no longer necessary to keep tabs on Lily or Jamie, right? And he went out of his way just to get himself in trouble. Like, for no reason. Unless I kind of missed something. I didn't understand, like, what was his motivations? Like, was he being paid by the government? Because I saw that he had contacts with people in the government, but I don't know if that was part of it or not. Yeah, because like I remember that the government visited to see what was happening, and the security guard was talking like very personally to the one that was accompanying the government lady. I don't remember what her position was. I don't know if it was like Secretary of Defense or something. Right. Unless that's the justification. I was just like, why, dude? Just get paid. You know? Hi. Also, another thing. Forrest, when he passed away, right? He went inside of the simulation. And the question that I had was, is there a Devs machine or Deus machine inside of the simulation? Because if so, technically speaking, everyone is kind of immortal, right? Like, you die, you just go to a further level of simulation. That's it. Ooh, actually, there's a name for that. It's quantum immortality. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a whole concept. Where, like, what kills you... Exactly, quantum immortality. Like, what kills you here won't kill you in another world. So there is going to be one where you live forever. Yeah, yeah, that's fucking fantastic. Yeah. Like, I have thought about a lot of these things, and a lot of them boggle my mind completely, but like, they're such frighteningly cool concepts to like think about and reach no conclusion. uh, yeah, I might have too much free time on my hands to be thinking about this, but yeah, it's really, really nice. I mean, not nice. Like quantum immortality would actually be torture, but uh, interesting. I think that would be the word. Interesting. Also, I'm working on something. I think I can show it. I'm working on something. I don't know where I saved it. Oh, there it is. I am still working on gathering references, right? But it's like so far, this is what I have for references. Yes, it's gonna be original work. It's like things that I want to use to work for my YouTube channel, right? So I have the VODs. I gotta edit more shorts. But I also need more content for shorts, and I only use like funny stuff. Whatever. But it's like it's original work that I want to use, and these are the references, right? Like you can see Darkstar Jin, Darkstar Thresh, and a bunch of other. I follow this artist. I follow the artist that does this. There's a bunch of images of this specific character that I've seen like a few years ago and I remembered, and the rest is like related to these through Pinterest. And I wanna the Galaxy Brain, yeah. Actually, yeah, like a whole lot of Galaxy Brain images appeared. Black Hole Chan, I think hasn't appeared, but it's very similar to this, I guess. This. It's like it's something that I want to work on. For now, these are the references for the concept. I'm gonna get like references for body types and poses, because that's a problem that I saw. What's the lower mid one? Ah, shit. Lower middle one. I don't know, like really, like this, and this. So, these ones, I don't know where they came from, right? It's just like, oh, I think that's really cool because in my mind, I had already thought about, for some reason, like a creature like this sitting down in a chair. It feels very weird, right? Like you at least think of some sort of throne. Yeah, like they're generic, but it's just because they're generic doesn't mean they can't like contribute as reference, right? It's like saying get reference for chairs. A lot of the chairs are going to be generic, but it's that sort of stuff that if I ask a room full of people to draw me a chair, they're not going to draw the same chair. They're all going to think differently, right? Like some of them will draw a normal school chair, and even when I say normal school chair, it doesn't make sense because there's no such thing. But like some people will draw a chair like this, right? Some people will draw like office chair, right? It's important to get references because there's no such thing as school. Then what do you call a group of fish? A fish. Fish. What do you call a group of fish if there's no such thing as a school? Checkmate, atheists. Fish. Plato's. Yeah. It's that sort of thing where originality comes from mutating other people's work. So it's like even if you get generic references, if you derive a little bit from some of the reference, you don't need to use everyone, but every single reference. But I think they're cool, right? And it's like if you derive a little bit from here, a little bit from there, you'll eventually end up with something that's going to be original. It's still going to take a lot of work. You know the concept and trick of putting random unrelated references in your idea board? I mean, wait a second. Did the music stop? I think. Okay, it's just a loop that takes a bit. Like I know that some artists do that. I think for this specific thing, I already have a concrete idea of what I want to do, right? Because like, let me just. Do I have this? I don't think I have the original. Fuck, really? Or did I leave it like this? I think I left it like this. Like, I have this. Right? This is more of self-portrait. But I want to pick this up. Right? And take it to the next level with proper method in illustrating, because this was done like a year and a half ago, right? Like I'm really proud of this, and this is like my profile picture in a lot of stuff, but I want to like get the base concept of this type of representation and take some elements from this, because it's kind of what I'm imagining, like not exactly, but sort of. And yeah, just work it out. Because like a thing that's very generic with this is that you don't see the face, and I want to make a face, just not derived from my own. Also, in terms of likeness, it's a bit different from my actual face, but it's like there's also going to be references for faces, and yeah. I think it feels generic because it's just like humanoid shape with space imagery, right? Like cosmic imagery. And that whole sentence kind of describes the entire thing. That's why it feels very generic. But at the same time, I think they're very powerful images. Like, I really enjoy... If the yellows were a bit more pushed, I would have enjoyed this a lot more. Because, you know, the whole purple-yellow thing really pulled to that. More alien, less human. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know. There's sometimes like putting random stuff. Yeah, I get that. I get that. But it's like putting random stuff sometimes can be complicated because as you go forward, you are gonna funnel into a more an ever increasingly more specific concept. I don't know if this sentence was actually correct, but Like you're gonna get more and more specific in your concept, right? You're gonna start closing doors, because if you don't close doors when you're doing something, you are never gonna move forward. I actually learned about this when there is a video series about how Riot Games does um, splash arts, right? Like this one and this one, and well, not splash arts, like champion designs, right? And they're like, okay, we do a bunch of variations, but then we but you don't pick references unless you're copying a single one. You don't pick references unless you're copying a single one. I don't get that. I mean, the random thing doesn't have to have any weight in your design. I mean, I guess. I guess not. Mm, I I think that depends from artist to artist. To me, would make things a bit more complicated, I think. It's like, it's not going to be just these references, right? Like, there's going to be people, like different body types. They're going to be different face types, right? I'm also going to be working with different palettes because I also want to try other stuff. But it's like, overall, if I had to describe it, I think these images describe a little bit well what I'm thinking about, right? And that's actually a problem that I've been seeing with these Genshin characters illustrations, going full circle back on the streams and stuff like that. Like a problem right from the get-go is that I don't get enough references. I don't make enough quick decisions in the beginning, right? And so what tends to happen is, like, I got a sort of pin-up pose, but it doesn't have energy to it. Very generic. The silhouette is pretty uninteresting, right? Like if I do the mask, if I copy the mask, if I put it over here, and then just so that we can have a basic idea, right? This silhouette is not that interesting. Right? And it's a bit interesting. There's a bit of asymmetry, but not a lot. Not a lot. And that's also part of why I already think this piece is not working. I'm gonna go through with it, but I already know, like, where to improve next. You know, some people might feel discouraged. I'm like pumped because I already know, like, what can I do to improve next, right? So yeah. In that regard, I think that's why Tainari resulted so well, because I had put a lot of effort into searching for the pose beforehand. Like I did 3 different poses, and then I did a fourth one that was derivative from other 2, and that works really well a lot of times because you can kind of build your own pose in a way with a few adjustments. So that's really good. We're gonna, I think I'm just gonna, I got the impression you were just focusing on trying different line work. Yeah. Sometimes I think I feel the need of doing that sometimes, but it also affects me because I know that they're practice pieces, so they don't work on their own, unfortunately. It's like it's those sorts of experiments that are necessary, right? Like with Gene, I learned that I shouldn't abuse the airbrush too much, right? With Amber, I think it was just the whole gradient thing. Gradient maps work really well if you're like really softly rendering stuff. But if you're cell shading, gradient maps don't work as well, you know? But it's that sort of stuff. Like if you're learning those things from the work and if you continue working, you get better. It's not just showing up in drawing, it's like showing up, drawing, and taking conclusions from your drawing, and you're gonna get better. At least that's what I believe in. You know? Because a lot of people are like, oh, if I put in like 10,000 hours, I'll become a master. And it's like, no. That's not what happens. It's if you put 10,000 hours, sometimes you work 1,000 and you think 9,000 about the 1,000 that you did work, right? A lot of times I see myself, like I stream, right? And I think to myself, damn, the piece is not going so well. And I start to think about what could be improved and things like that. My biggest improvements have come from seeing something I know works and trying to replicate it more than trying to apply/add a specific technique to my process. Yeah, yeah. That's like, I'm assuming when you say replicating something that works, it's like replicating something from someone else that you know that works, right? Like that's smart working. That's smart working because not only it makes, exactly. I know what I mean. Like you know it works for you at least, right? You know that works, and it gets you that much closer to develop your own style. Because now that you're in a place that works, you're also getting into a place where you can experiment with what works, right? Start to wiggle it around a little bit and start to mutate it. Yeah. I'm gonna show you something really cool. Do you know who Malevich is? He's a painter, or he was a painter. I think he's dead. But Malevich, he's like the extreme case of this. Okay. Let me just pull up a. I think his name is Kazimir Malevich. It's like, oh, it's with a Z. Kazimir Malevich. He is very interesting. Because I'm just gonna show you the brief Wikipedia page, right? I want you to understand exactly what happened to his work. This is a self-portrait, right? It says here, self-portrait. So he painted this. Eventually, his work became this right here. And one of his most famous works was the black square on white background. Right? So, I want you to like fully take in that he went from this to this, right? Just from wiggling around. Not only like in the physical method, but also in the more intellectual part of painting, right? What you wanted to represent. In fact, not what he wanted to represent, because this is not representational, this is abstract, but like what he wanted to paint, really. And it's like, it's such an interesting example. I'm not going to say that I enjoy this, right? But there's a difference between enjoying and wanting to know more about. And like a similar thing happened with Picasso. Like Picasso, when he was very young, he was very good in portrait, right? And by the end of his career, his work was completely different, from wiggling around, as one might say. And I always take these examples because, like, in a lifetime of wiggling, right, you can come up with really good end results. I think that kind of frustrates me is that people sometimes don't understand that art is, to me at least, right, is a way of living. And so it's something that you either quit or it takes you a lifetime, right? It's not to reach a certain number of paintings. I bet there are artists out there that have worked their entire lives and haven't produced a lot of finished works, right? It's more about how you live it, I feel, right? People get worried about it. Because it's not perceived as useful to society. It's like it's a total different thing. It's about what art can make you think, but it also can make you feel, right? And if anything, it can at least provide with unique experiences, or it can communicate ideas in a different way. For instance, I think a lot of people say, oh, video games aren't art. I think in the purest way, they are. Society usually just wants hedonism. I am dumb. Let me search hedonism just to make sure that I'm not hedonism. Pleasure plays a central role. Like art is pleasure, maximizing happiness. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've actually, I don't know if I talked about this already, but like I wrote a paper, not a paper, I wrote an essay. It's not a paper. I wrote an essay in college about how making a living has become so hard that when people get out of work, they don't have the energy to think about art, right? They only have energy to feel art. That's why music works so well, right? Music and powerful images can work really well, like powerful movies and things like that. Even though nowadays, like, movies use music a little bit like a crutch for tonal cue, but it's like I wrote about it, right? Because that's pretty much how I felt about it. It's like people don't chase what artists are producing, because a lot of artists make things to people think about, which takes time that people don't have, and sometimes it's a frustrating process thinking about those things and not necessarily happy. Sometimes art makes the spectator think whether they are good people, right? For instance, there's a thing in my country. There's, I think the world's most beautiful McDonald's is in Portugal, which is a weird flex, but I hope that I can find the image that I'm looking for. Like, it's not necessarily a big place, but I hope that I can find pictures of the interior that I'm looking for. This one sort of works, I guess. Like, when you go in, the layout is a little bit different from what it is now, but like, this is a very old picture. But there's stained glass on the inside. There's chandeliers and all that sort of stuff. The stained glass is actually a reference from colonial times. Portugal had a very heavy influence in Brazil, Mozambique, Angola, and things like that, right? And here you can see like white people from the nobility, right, and bourgeoisie, and here you can actually see slaves portrayed in the stained glass, right? And there's been a lot of debate about it, like people saying that it shouldn't be there, people saying that it should be because it's history and it's a piece of art and things like that. But what I wanted to say is that for all intents and purposes, it is a piece of art, and it makes, at least for me personally, it makes me think that this country isn't as great as a lot of people make it out to be, right? It makes me think, and it makes me uncomfortable about my lineage, right? And that's very good for an art piece. You know, something that makes you think twice about your own paradigm, because usually from children we think that the place where we are born in is normal and is what we should aim for, right? Witnessing these types of art pieces is a good thing so that we can reevaluate the values that surround us and the values that we grew on ourselves. Because it's weird. A lot of times we don't question ourselves. We take the values that we have as axioms, and that's like halfway to being wrong. You should absolutely question the values that you have But that's the thing. A lot of art pieces try to do that, but people don't have the energy to spend on that. So they just don't. And then you end up with, we take what is normal for us as granted. Exactly. History and art as a reminder. Yep. Yep. I don't think it's like, as stained glass goes, it is really pretty. The topic, however, is really heavy, right? So it's like, I don't even know where to start about whether we should keep it or take it down, honestly. But if it is to take it down, it's like it shouldn't be because it reminds people of history. Like a lot of things remind people of history, I think. But some people like to change things for the sake of change, not for good reason. Yeah, yeah. Like there needs to be a reason to change. You don't just change just because. Because change implies if you change just for the sake of it, you can actually change for the worse. Right? Just because you change it doesn't imply that it's going to get better. It can actually get worse. So unless you have a good reason for it, you shouldn't change. That's definitely a good point there. I was about to say something, but I kind of forgot. Oh, it's like, it's not necessarily historical revisionism, but for instance, I feel like a lot of Americans think that they're on the right side of history, when really all that happened was that they developed the atomic bomb first. So they put an end to the Second World War, right? And it's like, that alone gave them a lot of power, right? Like, sure, I need to fix that. Like, sure, a lot of the not allies, a lot of the Axis countries were doing terrible stuff, but that also goes for the United States. That also goes for Europe, right? It's like Germany is famous for their concentration camps, and Russia is also famous for that. But like in World War One, France and England were using those tactics already. That's not a tactic introduced in World War Two, right? Like Germany, that used to use mustard gas in trenches, accused the United States of using shotguns as cruel weapons, because shotguns inside of the trenches are really good to clean like a lot of people at once. And when I say clean, I really mean kill, right? It's that thing of history is written by the winners sort of deal. It's like, I think people should always take a step back and really evaluate where they are, how they got to where they got. Because I think that lack of self-reflection makes for pretty weird ideas later on. Because it also depends a lot on how history is told or taught, right? Like when I was in school and I had history, I didn't blink twice when they were talking about slave trade, right? They were like, oh, in the Mediterranean, there was a lot of gold, there was a lot of spice, there was a lot of myrrh, there was a lot of slave trades. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But, I never fully processed. They were trading people as goods, right? Only later did I actually like take a moment to fully understand what that meant. Like that has a lot of implications, right? Not only were we using people as just disposable objects, but there was also native Africans that were selling their own kind to us. Like that is so many levels of fucked up, right? Ugh. And I also heard that at a certain point we started making. When I say we, I mean like Western society. I don't mean like Portugal only. I don't know if this actually existed in Portugal, but like we started making zoos that actually included black people, African people and natives and things like that. That is wild. Actually ridiculous. It's been an hour and 20. Goddamn. I like talking about this stuff. Let me just do normal for a second. Wait, is this the... Oh, it is. Good. Okay, just checking if everything is okay. But, man, like, I am not good in theory classes, but I really enjoyed art college for that. Like, it definitely opened a lot of the world that I was not seeing at all. Like, there were 2 units. There was just like aesthetic study, and it was some of the heaviest shit that I studied. It was like aesthetics and contemporary art studies, I think. The contemporary art studies, like we had to study why contemporary European art is the way that it is. Well, not European art because now New York is the art center. But at the time, in the modern times, it was France, right? Paris. And like we had to study Second World War, and we studied like the perspective of German civilians in the middle of Second World War. And that shit is fucking scary, dude. Like they were going through what Ukrainians are going through right now, but with the added problem of policing themselves because dictatorship, It was like really, really heavy stuff. Like the United Kingdom just bombarding them and the civilians having to live normally with corpses everywhere. Right? It's like we did end up the Nazi threat, but it's like we cannot forget everyone that was caught up in those things. Nobody wins in a war. I think people forget about that. Right. It's like generalizing and saying that Russia is in the wrong for invading Ukraine. It's like, it's not Russia. It's the people in charge are in the wrong. Because you very obviously see that the people don't want to fight a country that they consider their own brothers and sisters, right? Like, history repeats itself. It really does. And it's sad. I think I just killed the mood in the chat. But I really like to talk about this sort of stuff. Because I feel like, you know, people might have different opinions, right? And I want to hear them. Because, again, like the same way that in college I learned about a lot of new information that I didn't have. Not very fun, yeah. But it's like, just like how in college I learned about a lot of new information, right? You know, people might have different perspectives that might, well, this is a redundancy, but might put things into perspective about how I see things. Because it's a very complex topic. Like that whole thing of when people track down the reason why World War II started, or World War One, I think. It was because of the death of an archduke in the Balkan countries, right? Which seems like completely unrelated. Yeah. Gotta do like this. Yeah. I think very recently, or not very recently, that doesn't make sense in English. Like in a few days, maybe weeks, I don't know how long it's gonna take me to actually figure it out, but I think I'm gonna use AI to produce references, because I want to see what it does. I want to see how it works to produce references. Cause I think it can be really cool. Yeah, yeah. Cause like I know that the images that I got are all done by artists, right? But like for instance, this one really feels like it was done by an AI. I don't think it was. I don't think it was. But like I know that AI has the potential to do things like these, right? And to a certain extent, that could be like the whole thing that you were mentioning of randomness. Like AI could introduce a little bit of randomness to the references. So I don't know. Yeah, I think that would be an interesting experiment to make, because I think that's the way it's gonna like benefit artists a lot. It's gonna make like the whole uh, concept thing much faster, I believe. It's like corporate people put words in um, an AI. The AI spits out a few prompts, and they go to the artists and they go like, okay, we want something like this, but like a few changes. This needs to be better refined and things like that. I think that's how it's gonna work. Like it's gonna help corporate people have a better product for them, and it's gonna help artists to better understand what corporate people want. Right. Like the same way that photography helps a lot painters to have references, right? So I think people shouldn't freak out too much about AI. But you know, there needs to be a little bit of honesty to it, because a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I drew this thing all on my own. It's like they weren't doing anything illegal, obviously, but it's like that thing where they let me see if I can explain this. There's like a sort of method that you can do where you have like a projection, right? You have a projection of a drawing, and then you have sort of glass, right? And so the projection gets here, and then you have the actual paper, the paper where you're drawing, right? And you draw it, and you record the process, right? But you don't record the glass nor the original projection. And you make it look like you're drawing everything from scratch. Like some artists can draw everything from scratch, like first try, right? It requires a lot of practice, but they can do it. But I've seen increasingly more TikToks where they pretend that they're drawing it first try. I can tell, like, by the way they do their lines and things like that, that they're bullshitting everyone. But people that are not used to seeing it think that's first try. And it's very easy to fall for that, because it really looks well done. Because it was a technique. It is a legitimate technique to like professionally work on it. But you know, they would say that. They would say that they were using projections to work more efficiently. In here, it's like they gather followers because they act like they're master draftsmen, I guess. It's like very disingenuous, I feel. getting a bit lost in the shading here. Like, obviously the conversation is, at least for me, I don't know about you, but for me it's amazing today. Really spicy. Like 1,000,000 Scoville units. Very good. But yeah, I'm gonna get lost in the whole shading thing. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave like something like this to have some variety to it. Because like completely smooth just makes the leg look like a sausage. Maybe something like this. Something like this, maybe? It does look weird. Maybe I'll do something like this. Yeah, that might work. But as you can see, I have no idea what I'm doing. There's always very always very good, right? It always builds a lot of trust. To a certain extent, the artist never knows what it's doing. It's a bit of instinct to it. Decisions and prior mistakes guide us. It's all about mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Alright. What next? I mean, it could... Okay, first I just gotta fix this. Not here. Here. I gotta fix this one. Here. Good. Now we're gonna be a little peachy. Good. Gonna call it flat shading, but technically it's not flat. But whatever. It's gonna take a while to like... Oh, notifications. It's gonna take a while to like improve on the rendering because I'm going like real slow on the course that I'm watching. And it's like it took me the entire weekend to watch. It's a bit orange. It took me the entire weekend to watch like an hour and a half video just about sketching, right? Like, it doesn't help that the lecturer is speaking in Mandarin, I think, and it's subtitled, and the Photoshop is entirely in Mandarin. But it's like, I'm processing so much information all at once. It's insane. So it's gonna take a while. But next up, I'm gonna move to... They don't call it line art, they call it line work. So, yeah. But it's weird, because the way I draw, at least, I feel confident in the way that I draw a gesture, and the way that I draw poses. Not original poses, I need reference. But it's like, it's weird because I make these characters look so stiff, right? When there's no need to be. I can be like more audacious. Not audacious. What's the word here? Like I could take more risks with the poses, you know, make the poses more dynamic, and I don't do that for whatever reason. It's like I definitely could do it. I start with delete a good gesture for less stiff poses. Yeah, but it's like for some reason I just play it so safe when the whole purpose is to improve. Like, nah, man. So I don't know which one is the next. But yeah, like better references, gestural poses, and more poses so that I can adjust and choose from. Great gesture and then open the pose anyway. Yeah, like in the course itself, they said like there shouldn't be too many steps from the sketch phase to the line work, which is definitely something that I do because each step stiffens the gesture. So it's like the gesture in and of itself needs to be already decisive, right? And then it's like you only adjust a little bit to make it believable. You don't need to make like perfect anatomy. You need to make believable anatomy. That's kind of what I took from it. That's why it's important to know how anatomy works, so you know how to make it believable. I think that's how they go about it. Because I get so caught up in the whole realism thing of it all. Gotta figure out, like, is it like this? I think it is, and then you just, I'm gonna blur it a little bit. Oh, big ass brush. Yeah, and then there's gonna be a sharp shadow there, hard shadow there, bro. Yeah. Cast shadow, smooth here, hard there. I like this. Oh yeah, like I do what? I do the initial pose and then I simplify it, not simplify it, I clean it up and then I draw the details and then I line work like just there. There might be 4 or 5 steps from the original gesture to the line work, and it's like that definitely stiffens up any pose. That feels weird. So like even if you, I like to see you do some studies on these parts of the process. I mean, that isn't completely impossible. But it's like I think I'm gonna use I think I'm gonna use like the characters themselves to improve on that. So it's like, yeah, like a lot of the practicing I think I'm gonna leave off camera, but like every single character is gonna have that in the beginning, you know, like the reference usage and things like that. So at least that much I will show. But I also want to like keep going with the characters, because if it's just VOD after VOD of me making studies, I think people wouldn't enjoy that very much. Also, I think that I'm gonna do is after I finish, I'm gonna flatten everything and I'm gonna liquefy this part. Because this is this the arm or the forearm? I don't remember. But, like, you can definitely see like very thick, very thin. Even if it's closed, you know, too thick. Liquefy tool to the rescue. Fading. Gonna be doing like this. I might include like a rim lighting or something. I don't know yet. But yeah. Yeah, whatever. I really don't know how the... That's another thing that I need to study. Like volume of that part of the arm. There's the brachioradialis. And it goes like that. But in here, I'm not too sure how it works. Because it would be like the bicep would connect here and these are divided. So it would be something like this, right? Or like this. I don't know. Not gonna invent too much on that. But yeah, that's definitely something that needs to be studied. But yeah. Another problem that I'm having is fixing up my sleep schedule. Like I've been taking 3-hour naps during the afternoon and going to bed at 2 a.m. That is terrible for me. Like before the whole work thing, I was getting up at 7 a.m. and going to bed at midnight consistently. It was bliss. And now everything went to shit. Pretty much. And I've been struggling to get everything back. Let's just do it like this. So in the skin is probably gonna be like very like that. Still feels a little bit weird. Man, I'll use close blur and this will blur the hell out of it. Oh yeah, that feels much better. I still need like some hard edges. I'll define hard edges with a harder color later on. What's that face, people? Never seen a thigh before. the words of XQC. I love. Yeah. I get the feeling that with skin, if you go like porcelain rendering, it's not half bad, right? It's a weird thing. But I like if you like a little bit of a gradient to it, like in the face, we could even. Oh, I'm gonna need like in the face airbrush. A little bit of color. You stay there for a long time. Neuron activation. Down bad. Down bad. You have Breaking Bad and you have Down Bad. Yes. I mean, now that you think, now that you say that, I was thinking, for neurons to actually do their job, don't they need like at least a second one? Like a single neuron probably won't do anything, right? I'm just looking for an excuse as to why I don't work, because I also think I have a single neuron. Yeah. Yeah, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. Actually, the shadows are pulling some work here. Definitely getting better, I guess. Let's... actually, here we might need to use the airbrush instead. We're gonna be a bit careful about it. Okay. Like, it's the opposite of Fresnel, so the more it is skewed, the darker it gets. So I think we can definitely like push that here. And down here, it starts to get like a little bit, not bad. Not bad. How is your chain of neurons passing this information then? I still think like I should have reference to render this, because I don't have like a good idea on how this is supposed to look like. Uh, like I'm just thinking about how the cloth works with light. If today I manage to stream 3 hours, I'm gonna be very happy. I think I will be able to, because there's a lot still to do. Feet? Oh my lord, feet. Feet, the hands of the legs, yes. My hands are... yeah. I mean, under that logic, he's not wrong, right? Your hand is a foot. I mean, technically, the hand is a foot, not the feet are hands, right? Because we gained the ability to grab stuff with our interior feet. Like the foot should be something from mammals, right? Because is there anything that isn't a mammal that has feet? Like, do you consider, for instance, crocodile members or limbs? Do you consider them as feet? Or is it just paws? Or not paws, like... maybe they are feet. Huh. We've gotten ourselves into a very complex question here. I even stopped to think a little bit about it. Biology is weird. Because, like, do horses have feet? Because it's weird, right? Their hooves are basically like one single finger. They walk on fingers. It's gonna do like this. Oh yeah. Fingernails. I guess? Fingernails? Man. Swear to God. Like, nature just got drunk one day. Ugh. Okay, so for the skin and for this type of fabric specifically, the airbrush works, but for other cloth, it doesn't. That's good to know. That's good to know. Right. We blur. We might need close blur. Goodness. Oh my lord, look at that. Ooh. Horses are super weird. Yes, they are. In fact, there's this YouTuber called H Bomber Guy, and the recurring joke is that horses are not weird. Horses are not real. I mean, horses are not real. Like talking about super serious topics, and all of a sudden, horses are not real. Rep shading here. Drinking some water. I think it's the same color, so I'm just gonna like just like that. Yeah. Like this, like that. Just in here it will be different because the hands would kind of cause it to do something like this, right? Almost like that. I don't know. See, this is why I should use references for this type of stuff, because I don't know how clothing works, which leads me to like assume stuff that it's gonna look weird by the end, I am sure. But I'm kind of proud of how the stockings came out. Better than I thought they would. Also, in the very beginning of the stream, I said that I was watching a bunch of shows. I completely forgot to mention that I'm also watching Mob Psycho, and I am watching my guilty pleasure, Irumakun. I love that show so much. Also, the openings are really interesting because they have good rhythm, but they always have shitty English. It's like, not to say that my English is super good, but it's like that type of shitty English that it's only present in Japanese music. Oh man, but it's really catchy. Throwing shade. English. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what about this? Well, they completely stretched, so fuck that. We gotta do some. This here, we're gonna have this part darkened, definitely. Now in here, I don't know if I should use airbrush or paint by hand. I mean, I'm fairly certain that I'm gonna use clothes blur anyway, so. Right, just. Okay, let's go back and see how it looks. Also, I collapsed the navigator. I don't know. I think I'm gonna give up on this navigator idea. I'm just gonna work like this. There's like more space for me to work, and it makes the whole layout of the stream much simpler, I think. Which is another thing that I'm gonna work on. Like, I think the layout of the stream, despite being good, has a bunch of shit that is occupying way too much space. Like, the chat doesn't need the border, the Twitter and YouTube handle can be handled in a different way. Like, I really like how Small Ant took care of that part. Like, it's just a small rectangle. And yeah, like the lower bar can definitely occupy less space. So gotta take care of that. But yeah. It's like I've been looking at ways of separately downloading the chat, which would make it even easier for me, because that way I could take out the chat from the actual stream and just download it whenever I need to edit videos. So you have even more space to just look at me pretending that I know how things look like. There's so much shit that I need to do, like video editing, study how other streams have their layout, you know, study illustration. Ugh. Man. Suffering from success. I mean, success in the sense that I'm doing what I want. Right? But hey, having two active chatters is already like success. Honestly, if people don't think that is success, I don't know what they want. Okay, so what am I missing? The shoes, basically the light gray part, which I was working on, so we're gonna continue work on that. Gonna leave it like that. Yeah, some hard shadows. Because again, if I do too many like light shadows, I'm gonna end up doing the exact same mistake that I did with Jean, And I don't want that. Like, I feel like this feels better than Jean. But Jean also had like bad proportions, bad uh pose. Like there was a lot of mistakes on that one. I just did it too fast, I think. I'm gonna do a little bit of close blur here. So it is like hard shadow transitioning to soft shadow because it gets further away from the casting place. Yeah, like having these things in mind is good for me. Like, I'm not just drawing willy-nilly. There's no problem in doing that, but it's not productive to improve, at least in my opinion. Like I want to improve fast by knowing what I'm actually doing, not just like blind trial and error. So yeah. Do like this. We might have a little bit of rim light here, but that doesn't take it from the shadow. Oh, here. God damn it. I might actually like post quick sketches on Twitter just to keep it like alive, because if I only post like 4 time lapses at a time, my Twitter is gonna die. Also, speaking of Twitter, apparently Elon Musk is really gonna go ahead with the purchase, and it's gonna fire like 75% of the staff. That's gonna be fun. Oh Lord. Okay, not bad. Now here. So again, here I'm gonna have like rim lighting, but overall it's gonna stay in the shadow, I think. Also, another thing, I had said before that I could have just done this. I'm taking longer for no reason. Just select. This is more of consequence of not being used to the method. Like the instructor in the course was really fast, so I'm definitely gonna liquefy this part. It also feels a little bit weird. It should be like yeah. What else do I need to do? What would you say the 3 most important things for you to improve are right now? Better reference. Better reference. I think gesture is okay. I just think I destroy it later on. So better reference. Better rendering. And I think better storytelling. Because this image tells me practically nothing. Right? Like I could have made a much better image if I like picked up the best weapon that she can have, which is like this book, right? Like she could be making magic with that book, right? Like the images have no fucking storytelling. They are the most boring cookie cutter shit that I've ever seen, and I only noticed that like later, unfortunately. It's always later. It's always later. Goddamn. Tainari has some storytelling, is in the woods, he has his bow on his hand, right? So there might be something there. But like Jean, I think Jean is a weak piece, right? It's just a weak piece. It's weakly made. So I don't play Genshin now. But like their personalities must be all cookie cutter anyway. So I don't go there too much because they shouldn't change too much. Like they can't have like really controversial personalities or else they won't be able to sell. So I'm pretty sure they're all gonna be very similar. But so sleepy. It's like it's trope you still want to know the trope for storytelling. Definitely. Okay, add another dimension to it. Yeah. Like I'm not interested in the entire personality, but if I can know like one thing or two, that would be nice. Gotta go the extra mile to make the piece more compelling. Yeah, definitely. That's another thing, right? Like, I treat the pieces a lot like exercises, and not so much like something that people could be potentially interested in looking at, which definitely hurts them a lot. Because like people don't really care too much about exercises from a random schmuck. Like they want to see finished pieces, they're, and especially with like how fast people consume images nowadays. It's like it's gotta be good, right? It's gotta be worth the 5 milliseconds that they use to look at it. Yeah. Yeah, there's that whole composition thing where you make a composition that kind of coils in on itself so that the eyes are constantly going around the different parts of the piece. That is interesting. Now, looking at this, I painted this like just flat colors, so let's make it a little bit darker here. The eyes are definitely going to be a problem later on, but whatever. I think I'm gonna take my time now to fix the line art, because like it's all one color and I don't want that. I want to try and like accompany the tone of the part that it's encapsulated. Overall, it will make the piece feel softer. I actually think I didn't do this with Tighnari. It would be like one of the things that would improve it, I think. It's like a shitty painting all around, but once I zoom out, it's like, oh, what do you know? You can't even notice it. Wow. Also, I found a streamer that is also like illustrating Genshin characters. Like he's way better than me. But you know, I like to look at his work to learn how he does things. He does like 16-hour streams, and sometimes right in the middle of the stream, instead of drawing, is just like playing Genshin. Straight up. I found that to be like so funny. You know? It was like an incredible piece, and all of a sudden, yeah, you know, fuck it, Genshin. I mean, it makes sense, right? If he enjoys the characters, he probably enjoys playing the game as well. After the stream, I'm gonna have lunch, and I really am in need of a coffee. Holy. I get the feeling like at least 3 times a stream, I gotta complain about how tired I am. It's already a rite of passage for every single stream. If I don't do that, something has gone terribly wrong. Either that or I'm just having like a manic episode or something. Mm. Super good. Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's really weird. I nap for like 3-4 hours at or in the afternoon, and then at night I do like 1.5 cycles. So I wake up in the middle of one and I feel incredibly tired. I do drink a cup of coffee right in the beginning of the day, but coffee only hides the tiredness. It doesn't actually give you energy. It just fools your body into thinking that it's not tired. Because you're gonna catch everything back once the caffeine effect stops. It's like, on one hand, that isn't too bad because it is good to fix the sleep schedule, right? You just drink coffee until it's time to go to sleep. The problem is, I kind of get the jitters if I drink too much coffee, and that really affects my ability to draw. Yeah. There's like no good way of going about it, really, which sucks. Just gonna do like that. What's happening there? Okay, I think this part I could take care of the rose already. Right. Like, is it looking good? I think it is. Right. Looks a bit softer. It's definitely what I'm going for. Yeah. I'm enjoying this method actually. Also, in the far future, so it's not gonna be for now. For now, I still want to like refine this whole method, right? But in the far future, I think I'm gonna like go for either very minimalistic line art or no line art at all. So that's interesting. Yeah. It's definitely gonna kill me. Yeah. Problem is I'm not very used to just paint with no line art, right? I would definitely have some issues to solve with just painting. It's like I prefer traditional just painting with no line art instead of digital. Digital kind of weirds me out a little bit in that regard. Also, I haven't thought too much about it, but I'm kind of fucked after the figure. Like, after Lisa, I still need to draw a background. Uh... Why? I think it's looking really good, right? My bookcase. Yeah, man. Look. Oh, it's what is this? Bookcase. Gimme. Woo. There he is, lurking the entire stream. Then does she look great? She looks great, man. She looks great. You should work on them thighs. She looks great. uh, but yeah, definitely like getting better than I thought it would. So that's a plus at least. Because I thought it wouldn't get that good, but it's better than I thought. Always lurking. That meme with the giant squid looking at the girl soon. I did. It's here. Kind of like wondering where this whole color thing went. Huh. But I gotta like... Yeah, it's pretty much this color. Okay. I gotta like paint these parts. Let's step back a little bit. Yeah, I think she looks really good. Really good. The feet are pretty much done already. What the fuck happened here? What happened? What? Hello? The fuck? This was already done. Oh my god, I gotta fix it again. Yep, that's the moon right there in one single emoji. That's the mood. Fuck's sake, dude. I had this done. Bring it down a little bit. Also, the jewels, gotta fix that one too. Albeit I know that I hadn't done them before, so take care of those. Over here, I think everything is okay. I'm gonna linger a little bit so that you can all enjoy this view. Yes. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but you gotta admit, it's pretty good. Alright, let's continue. Now imagine how this would look like if the pose was like more suggestive or something. Now that would be a piece. But not to worry, Lisa is not the only character that has this potential. There'll be plenty of characters where we'll be able to take or make the most out of their assets. Interesting. Cool. That whole chain of neurons. I actually don't know which character is gonna be next. Let me look real quick. Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact. Website. It's gonna redirect me to the other website where the characters are by order. I think. Jean, Amber, Lisa. Oh, the next one is a guy. The next one is a guy. Alright, now that's gonna be a challenge. Albeit, I know more about male anatomy than female, but female anatomy is more fun to draw, I think. I'm not interested. That actually, reminded me of a meme that I saw yesterday. That was like Overwatch 2 came out recently, right? And there was a gigantic line to enter the game. And so a group of guys went to Discord and made like a slideshow of all of the characters and asked newbie to name the characters. And it was like every time a female character appeared, the newbie knew the name, but every time a male character appeared, he didn't know the name of the character. So I'm sure you know what that means. But like, I think it's Zarya, the name. Is it Zarya? I don't know. Like Overwatch 2. Is it Zarya? Yeah, it's Zarya. So basically, when Zarya showed up, the guy also said he didn't know the name. And they're like, oh, I don't know, man. I never jacked off to this character. uh, when Widowmaker showed up, like the entire call, oh, Widowmaker, oh. I swear to God. It's like the Blizzard saying, "Oh, we're gonna encrypt the character models so that people don't make porn out of them," and like I'm sure the world would unite to create new decryption algorithms just to be able to get the characters to make more porn. There's just no limit. There's no limit to it. I believe. But then they make Witch Mercy and Beach Diva. Yeah. Yeah. Now see, that's like strategic marketing, all right? You create the problem of people not being able to make porn. Why? Because the studio can actually make it and profit from it, right? That's actually a 20 head move right there. You're just not looking at it right. Right? You create a problem and you sell the solution. Boom. Ingenious marketing right there. It's just like how Apple stopped giving the charger with the phone so that they can charge more for the charger separately. Like, you know, you gotta use like 200% of your brain for that, right? And to investigate more about it. Oh no. He's not coming back. Also, you know, if you have to do something, you gotta do it now because in about 6 days, November starts. And we cannot fail. We cannot fail. We need to honor our ancestor. This is really racist. We need to honor our ancestors. We cannot fail in November. this. Is it just me or is it taking like a shit ton of time to do this? Jesus Christ. Oh, this is kid. Yeah, I thought it was like too light. Yeah. I was like, oh, it was blending really well with the skin. I fucking ain't. It ain't skin. It's supposed to be the gold. When the fucking call just lit up. Oh, Widowmaker! Whoa! Yeah. And apparently the guy had never played a single game of Overwatch. It's just like, bruh. Okay, the down part is done. Everything here is done. Oh, there's that. What color did I use? I used a very dark color, didn't I? Like this. Because this way I don't need to go back here anymore. Because there shouldn't be too much to do. We're actually really close to the 3 hours of stream. God damn. I've been yawning for like 1 hour, but I want to establish precedents of like 3 hour routine. Yeah. Yeah, good night, gamer. I mean, to us, it's morning. But I get the feeling, yeah. Good night, gamer. It's night. Whatever, man. I don't respect the opinion of someone who lives on the other side of the flat earth. No, man. Good night. Good night. Have plenty of rest. Oh, it's just us. Yeah. I mean, probably just me, because you're probably like watching, making research, scientific research on Overwatch. How's the weather? I don't have windows on my bedroom or in my bedroom, so I don't know. You tell me. Yes, I actually don't have windows in my bedroom. Like my bedroom is a cave. Swear to God. It's so easy to develop vitamin D deficiency when your room doesn't have windows. It's weathery today. Yeah. It wasn't that way yesterday. Yeah. I'm sure do change. I think it rained during the night, didn't it? I gotta say, rainy weather is like my favorite. Probably is not an answer, man. I need concrete evidence. You call yourself a man of science without evidence. The fuck are you gonna do with that, huh? Like, oh, Megalodon lives in the Marianas Trench. Probably. Yeah, that's you. That's you doing your job, right? Probably. God damn, looking good. Holy shit. I have to fix this. But whew, looking good. So from what I have to, I actually like the purple eyelashes. That feels really nice. Nice. Yeah, there's not like a lot more to go on here. So yeah, fix the hat. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I also think she looks really good. Like, she looks way better than I thought she would. Holy shit. And it's like, it still needs like harsher shadows and everything, like pulling the contrasts. Cause like I can't. Not this. Like I need to do this. This is normal. If I do, where is it? Saturation, right? Like with this, Mimi looks real. Yeah. Like with saturation, we can see the dark parts or the darkest parts and like the lightest parts, which are usually the skin and the white, obviously. And it's like I'm still gonna push the contrast higher. Sorry. Mainly like darken the darkens and lighten the lights. But she already looks really good. You wanna see something cool? This is what the line art mask looks like. Oh! Okay, so now I know what the fuck happened. I used the book brush in the mask, and that's why it was fucked up before. Alright. Yeah, this is what I've been painting all this time. But with the mask, it only works on the line art. It's really weird. So there's like a lot more that I can improve on. like if I had more gesture, if the silhouette was more interesting. Why am I not? Oh, it's just a small variation in color. Alright. If the silhouette was more interesting and all that good jazz, this piece would have become even better. So, yeah. But as it stands, it's already an improvement, I'd say. So, look here. Yeah. Once I'm done with coloring the line art, I'm gonna call it quits for today. Still gonna take like a few minutes, but the hat is more or less done, honestly. I think I forgot to like shade it here, but it's probably saving. Yeah, right. Eight. Here, here. This. When there's a method, I think it feels more cohesive. So I need this color just to put some shading here in here because it's really like weirding me out how there's no shading. Like something simple, really. It doesn't need to be super complex, but it feels super flat without it. Yeah. Just scratching the itch. Now we can pick this up. Just also, here's another thing that I didn't talk about it today, but I think it's important to like, even as if I ever look back on this, I'm considering actually applying for a design degree, which is kind of weird, you know. Because, you know, design has more professional opportunities. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that suspended in the air. I don't know to what extent that's gonna happen, but it might happen. Oh, the hands are so complicated. I think I'm gonna do is like leave the interior like that so that we can tell what's happening. But the rest I'm gonna do like this. Yeah, I think that looks good. There's actually there, but whatever. Yeah, now she looks like really soft. And I like that. Yeah, I think the flowers are the only thing that are really missing from all of this. Maybe a tad bit darker. And after that, I think I'll end the stream for today. So if I'm lucky, I finish it tomorrow and then Thursday, because Wednesday there isn't a stream. On Thursday, I start with, I think his name is Kaeya, which I know you're not that interested in, but I did say every Genshin character, not every female Genshin character. You gotta stay true to my word. Albeit I am a bit biased, so I might do like more action pose for male, and still action but more like seductive pose for female. Unless they're like literal children or look like children, then it's gonna be like playful pose or something. If I draw Paimon, I'm gonna draw Paimon being emergency food. I don't know almost any Genshin characters. Yeah, I think there's like one or two Genshin characters that have the same situation as Zoe from League of Legends. So she's legal. Yeah, it doesn't matter. She looks like a child. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Let's go, dude. Oh, 259. Let's go. Alright. I'm tired as hell. I need a break. It's not like I'm not gonna work the rest of the day. I'm still gonna work, but it just not streaming. Streaming takes all of my energy. Jesus. I want to thank everyone that joined me on the stream today. I want to thank everyone that might be watching the VOD. And yeah, we're doing great in this one. Hopefully tomorrow we'll finish, and tomorrow I'll be back at the exact same time. YouTube. So tomorrow on Twitch, 9 a.m. GMT +1. And that is all for today. So thank you, and I see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.